Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope you are keeping fit and fine, chanting Gayatri Mantra every day as we had asked you, like the way you do it in school. All right. It's always good to stay fit and fine, students. It is always good to say in this way because a healthy mind stays in a healthy body, isn't it? And vice versa. All right, so we begin with today's work. In English literature today, we are going to start with this poem, God Save the Beetle by Ruskin Bond. Now, yesterday I gave you the reasons about what is poetry all about. What do we understand by poetry? Now, when I said whenever we are reading any poem, we try to ask certain questions, isn't it? We ask questions like what the poet is trying to tell us. What is the poetry all about? What is the message it is being created? And what is the message being conveyed to us? If we are able to answer these questions, that means we are understanding the poem. Now, while doing so, we also look into the language, the imagery part. By language, I mean when we say whether the language is very simple or slightly difficult, or the figures of speech which has been used, maybe some time phrases also, maybe some very difficult words or some flowery words which is being used. So we have to keep all these things in mind while we are understanding the poem. Right. So now we begin. This is a picture of Ruskin Bond, the poet, and this is the poem, God Save the Beetle. Now we begin with the first line. Lord, please give some sense of direction to this beetle who keeps blundering through the open window and falling into the goldfish bowl. Now, over here, students, we find that the poet is the narrator over here. He asks God for help, not for himself. He asks God to help this beetle. Now, what is this beetle doing? The beetle is coming through the open window and falling into a goldfish bowl. Now, the poet is in his room and there is a fish bowl. Like you can see in the picture, there's a fish bowl which is kept in his room. And through this window, the insect seems to come straight and falls into the goldfish bowl. Every time it is making the same mistake. Every time the insect is coming through the window and falling in the fish bowl. So the poet asks God to put some sense of direction to this beetle, to give him some sense of understanding that this road, that this way through which the beetle is coming is not right because the beetle is falling in the fish bowl. Now, what do we understand by sense of direction? I'll give you an example. In the morning, sometime when we get up, we are still very sleepy, we haven't opened our eyes properly. Then we find that the moment you get up, for a split second, for a moment, you don't really know which side the door is. You don't know through which side you should go to the washroom. So for a moment, you lose your sense of direction. I'm just talking for a moment. There is no sense of direction means you are blindly, you're just walking through, trying to walk through the wall, but actually the door is not that side. So for a moment, there is no sense of direction. Sense of direction over here means a feeling or understanding of the direction. So the poet says that the beetle also does not have this sense of direction. That is the reason why it has picked up the wrong direction, and when he flies and falls in the goldfish bowl. Who keeps blundering through the open window. Keep blundering means making the same mistake, same careless mistake. If the beetle knew which direction is right for him to zoom in, then obviously he would not have fell into the fish bowl. So he asks God to put some wisdom in the beetle so that he does not fall in the goldfish bowl. Lord, please give some sense of direction to this beetle who keeps blundering through the open window and falling to the goldfish bowl. Twice I have saved, twice I have kept him from drowning. Now this person, the poet, the narrator, seems to be a very kind-hearted person, very soft-hearted person, a very compassionate person. See, he says that twice I have kept him, twice I have saved him from drowning. Why drowning? Drowning, what do you understand by the word drowning? Means the person is if the person is drowning, where will a person drown? The person will obviously drown in the river, in the water. Now the person who does not know how to swim, the person will drown in the water. So the poet says it is very obvious for us to understand, student, that a beetle is not a water animal, isn't it? The beetle will not know how to swim. A fish would know how to swim in the water, but obviously not the beetle. So he says that twice I have kept him from drowning. The beetle has fallen twice in the fishbowl water, and twice, not one time, two times I have saved him and returned him to the garden. I have saved him, I have picked him up from the water, and I have taken him to the garden. But he keeps coming back, zooming and diving about the room. So he said that two times, twice I have saved his life, but he doesn't seem to understand. Every time I take him outside, he comes zooming in. Now we come to another word which needs to be understood. The word zooming. Yesterday, students, if you notice, if you remember, I had spoken about the figure of speech which is used over here. See, like this. Onomatopoeia. Remember yesterday I explained? Now when we are trying to speak something, then we can create the sound of it. Let's say if we are talking about the car who comes very fast inside, let's say you are standing in the driveway and a car comes very fast towards you and stops at the place where you are standing. So how do you explain it? You will describe the car came zooming inside. By just creating this noise, you are trying to make the person understand the speed, the way through which the car came. But while we are writing something, then it is not possible to create such sound. So certain words are created which conveys the meaning of the sound, right? The words will give you actually the words which makes you understand that this is the kind of sound which the poet is trying to create. Now such words are called as onomatopoeia. Like yesterday we discussed boom, splash, pop. Zoom again is over here used. So in today's poem we find two words, onomatopic words which is used. Zoom. If you see the sentence which is used, but he keeps coming back zooming. Zooming means, see, the way the beetle comes inside the room is similar to that of a car or a motor vehicle zooming inside, coming with great speed, right? So he says, the poet says, he keeps coming back zooming. Understood the meaning of zooming over here? And diving about the room until plop. Diving about the room, comes in great speed and all of a sudden falls in water. Now, the sound which is created over here, the word used for that sound is plop, P-L-O-P. Now, what do we understand by P-L-O-P? Anything which drops in water, the sound which comes out is the sound of plop. So, when we have to create that sound, when we are writing something, that let's say over here like the beetle fell in the water. If I simply write it as the beetle fell inside the water, it's plain and simple. But if we write the beetle fell inside the water and plopped in the water, then it creates more effect. Then you're able to understand it better. So that is the meaning of plop or zoom. These onomatopic word is used to create a better sense of understanding. Such figure of speech is created to make the poem more effective and make it better for us to understand. Alright, we stop over here. The remaining part of the poem will be done in another class. I hope you have understood this poem. Till now it is very clear. If there is anything which you have not understood, then you can always ask me. In the PPT over here, student, you can see the explanation is also given. I will give it to you later on also, but this is given over here which you need to copy it down in your practice notebook, or rather you should copy it in your fair notebook. Okay. So much for today. Thank you.